For decades, scientists called Africa's forests the lungs of the earth. Vast, ancient, and seemingly indestructible, they quietly pulled billions of tons of carbon dioxide out of our atmosphere every single year. But something has changed, something alarming, and most people have absolutely no idea it's happening. Africa's forests, once one of our greatest weapons against climate change, have flipped. They are no longer absorbing carbon. They are now releasing it. And the implications for every living creature on this planet are almost impossible to overstate. Let's talk about what's actually going on. Africa is home to the second largest tropical rainforest on the planet, the Congo Basin. Stretching across 6 countries and covering nearly 3.7 million square kilometers, it is a cathedral of biodiversity. Over 10,000 species of tropical plants, forest elephants, okapis, bonobos, rivers so wide they look like inland seas. For millions of years, this forest breathed in carbon and breathed out oxygen, acting as a critical stabilizer for Earth's climate system. But a landmark study published in Nature has revealed something that stopped climate scientists in their tracks. Africa's tropical forests, taken as a whole, have crossed a threshold. Between the 1990s and the 2010s, African forests transitioned from being a net carbon sink, meaning they absorb more than they release, to a net carbon source. In other words, they are now pumping more CO2 into the atmosphere than they are pulling out. So what happened? There is not one single villain in this story. There are several, and they are working together. The first is deforestation. Across West Africa, vast stretches of forest are being cleared for agriculture, logging, and human settlement. Smallholder farmers, desperate for land, combined with large-scale commercial operations hungry for timber and palm oil, are stripping away trees at a rate that is simply unsustainable. When a tree is cut down, every ton of carbon it spent decades storing is released back into the atmosphere almost instantly. The second force is forest degradation. This one is sneakier and harder to see from a satellite. Degradation means the forest is still technically standing, but it has been damaged. Selective logging removes the largest, oldest trees, the very trees that store the most carbon. Fire, often used to clear land at forest edges, creeps inward. Invasive species take hold. The forest becomes thinner, younger, and far less capable of absorbing carbon. The third culprit is climate change itself, and this is where things get deeply uncomfortable. Rising temperatures and shifting rainfall patterns are stressing forests across the continent. Trees under heat stress absorb less carbon. Droughts kill trees outright, and dead, decomposing trees release their stored carbon back into the atmosphere. Climate change is weakening the very ecosystems that were meant to protect us from climate change. It is a feedback loop, and we are already inside it. Now here is what makes this particularly urgent. The Congo Basin forest has, until recently, been more resilient than the Amazon. It stayed wetter. It was less fragmented. Scientists held it up as a model of relative stability. But even the Congo is now showing signs of stress. Carbon uptake in the basin's intact forests has dropped significantly over the past 2 decades. If the Congo crosses the same tipping point that parts of the Amazon already have, we lose one of the last great climate buffers on the planet. So what can actually be done? And more importantly, what role can you and I play? From wherever we are in the world, the solutions exist. Community-based forest management programs in countries like Cameroon and the Democratic Republic of Congo have shown that when local communities are given legal rights over their forests, deforestation rates plummet. Indigenous land stewardship works. It has always worked. The problem is funding and political will. Reforestation projects across the Sahel, the strip of land just south of the Sahara, have demonstrated that degraded land can recover. The Great Green Wall Initiative aims to restore 100 million hectares of land across 20 African countries. It is ambitious, it is necessary, and it needs support. If you want to take real, tangible action today, one of the most powerful things you can do is support verified carbon offset programs and conservation organizations working directly in African forest regions. We have linked a trusted platform in the description below one that connects everyday people with certified reforestation and forest protection projects in Africa and beyond. Every contribution goes directly to on-the-ground work. No greenwashing, no vague promises, real trees, real communities, real impact. Check the link below and see how easy it is to get started. Because here is the truth. The forests of Africa are not just Africa's problem. They regulate rainfall for the entire continent. They influence ocean currents. They store carbon that belongs to all of us, carbon that once released does not respect borders. We are at a crossroads. The data is no longer ambiguous. The forests have flipped, but they can flip back if we act now with urgency and with intention. Share this video, talk about it, and take one step today, however small. The lungs of the earth are struggling to breathe. It is time we helped them.